Well, this morning we're going to talk about the Baja 1000. The race is coming up in 6 weeks. A couple hundred teams are going to do 1,120 miles from Ensenada down to La Paz. You probably know of the Baja 1000. I thought we'd just take a little bit just to talk about the race, because until you go down there and see it, it's kind of hard to really understand what's going on. I mean, here's Ensenada, right? The cars are all lined up right through the middle of town. They launch down Main Street, they drop into a wash, and they head out into the desert, I guess. But most races, right? You lap a 2 mile circuit. You come into the pits, you get new tires and fuel. Even Dakar allows you to go to sleep at night. Yeah, it's 2 weeks, but you go to sleep at night. People cook you food. A team works on your car. You start out with a fresh ride in the morning, or in theory. Baja's nonstop. It's the last of the point-to-point races. There used to be some great ones in the world, like the Targa Floria, the Mille Miglia, Carrera Panamericana. But a lot of those races are gone. The world's become too populated. You can't race through these towns flat out. Mexico's probably the only place that lets you still just rip right through their country for 2 days straight. And that in itself is unusual. The other thing is, there is no pit limit, pit locations. Yeah, BFG sets up trucks every 200 miles, 180 miles. But there's no pits. You have to run logistics. It's like moving an army 1,000 miles down the peninsula. The fast teams, they have helicopters running in front of the trophy trucks, telling what the terrain looks like ahead. You heard about gravel crews being banned in WRC. They have gravel helicopters. You guys should go down and see it. It was really, really nothing like it. The border's maybe a half hour from the airport in San Diego. I met some guys who flew into Tijuana. They flew right into TJ and rented, from Hertz, a Jeep Rubicon, a four-door, and had the time of their lives. I think they spent $300 on the Jeep for the weekend. We were just driving around, grilling out of the back, camping, having a blast. This video is for guys who have been to Baja. If you've been to Baja, you just turn this off right now. You're like, Kaz, what are you talking about? This is for all my friends who do rally, do track racing, who've never been down to the Baja, right? So the way it works is, the day before the 1000, you have contingency, and it's like a giant parade of all the race vehicles being pushed effectively through this huge line. All the sponsors are lined up. They make sure their parts are on your car. They make sure the stickers are on the car and conform with the contingency payouts. And then if you place and do well, they write you a check, which is, awesome. At the end of that is tech inspection, which is why the line's moving so slowly. And in the middle of the whole thing is a giant 10-block street party with live bands and huge beer tents and Tecate girls and Corona girls dancing around in spandex. The whole thing's a riot. The real teams, their swapped drivers will be in position before the race even starts. The real teams are down there right now or next week pre-running the course. So about 2-3 weeks before the race opens, most of the run, except for the parts close to Ensenada that are blocked off as it's too urban, are open for pre-running. You take a race, you take whatever you want down there. You take a side-by-side, you take a truck down there, motorcycles, take my Scout, and you can go run the full 1,000 miles and make your own pace notes, just like rally if you wanted to. You can note every corner. Of course, changes a lot, especially for a guy like me at the back of the field. 50 trophy trucks go through. The road looks nothing the same as the day before the race started. So, the thing I love about Baja, it might be the longest race in the world. It's got to be, right? 1,120 miles, 2 days, 48 hours of racing. The thing I love about it is, you can just buy a motorcycle and show up. You don't need any previous race experience. You can just sign up, buy a race license, sign the waiver, and send it. Yeah, the $1 million trophy trucks are what you want. But some guys entered a motorhome one year. They actually caged an RV, and they launched a motorhome. Yeah, you can run a Class 11 VW Bug. It's just like a VW Bug with a cage in it and some very, very minor mods to keep the chassis together. There's stock class trucks. You can enter whatever you want as long as it has safety. The fact that it's open to anyone at any level is cool to me. Build whatever you want. You want to build your own motorcycle from scratch? Build it. Show up. Have fun. You want to build your own trophy truck? Build it. You want to build a buggy? You want to take an RV? You want to bring a BMW? Bring whatever you want. Just put the cage in it and go. Yeah, so I love Baja. It's the last of the big adventure races. Yeah, there's Dakar, right? But before you even buy a vehicle for Dakar, it's $100,000 just to show up. I want to say the entry fee's $28,000 or something. And then you got to pay, and that gets you 4 crew members. I'm making this up. Someone go look it up. I haven't looked in years. But then every crew member you bring to Dakar, you have to pay $12,000 for their food, bivouac, first aid, bathroom type stuff. So, before you even show up, you're into the car for 60 to 100 grand. When we ran in 2011, I think we spent, after our entry fee. So if you get rid of the race entry fee, which for Baja has gone up, it's close to $3,000 now for sportsmen. That means there's no payout. I'm not in the cash paying classes, so I pay less of an entry fee. But after paying the entry fee, I think our costs for running the 1,000 were like under $1,000. I think we paid $600 in fuel. We had a hotel room for like $120. We had some money spent in the bars afterwards. We bought some food. But yeah, we just, went down there, towed down there 2 hours, put it up on the start line, left a friend in the bar, keep an eye on the GPS every couple hours, you go and look, see if we're still running. You can also have some pretty horrible accidents. You are really in the middle of nowhere, man. And this isn't one of the early sections, it's like a populated part, but dude, you go over the summit, it goes up to 5,000 feet. Every time I've been in Baja, it's been warm. It's been like Cabo, like 85 degrees and margaritas. I had no idea that it was going to be like 35 at the summit. I mean, it makes sense. You're a mile up. You're on the top of a mountain. It's night. It's like high altitude desert. And you have no idea how cold a race car is with no windshield. Like, no one runs windshields because you get behind a car or a bike, they'll just throw rocks and shatter it. So, you just run no windows and just run, your helmet. Problem is we didn't put any wind guards, so the whole brunt of the wind was coming in that windshield. We were freezing, like absolutely freezing. Yeah, I know. Should I be complaining about being cold in one of the toughest, most badass races on the planet? No, but I'm just letting you guys know if you go down there, it's not entirely what you think. It looks like the warm desert. It looks like they'd be hot, but like in a couple hours, the sun drops, they're gonna be freezing. But there's no way they're gonna bump a side by side. Yeah, okay. That's the other thing that's cool about Baja. Like they talk about like bumping and NASCAR, rubbing is racing. Dude, in Baja, like, you get to hit your competitors. You come up on them and they're not getting out of the way. Like, they got to move or you give them a little love tap. And if they still don't move, then you get to, like, give them a big love tap. You do it at a corner and you just push them right off the corner and you get to keep going. So, yeah, it's like you're out there. It's like you got to watch out for yourself, man. Like, trophy truck could hit you. You could flip off a cliff, you got booby traps, you got the weather, you got fire, you got all sorts of nasty stuff going on, and no one's there to look out for you. It's just you, your co-driver, the vehicle, whatever tools you have, and any friends you find along the way. Which you will find a lot of. Like, seriously, thank God for Mag 7. Like, Mag 7's been doing pit stops down in Baja forever. The first year we were there, we broke the steering rack off the car. Well, we limped it along until we found a Mag 7 pit. And Ray Rodriguez got out of his tent. He actually made us a sandwich, found us some bolts, helped us put the steering back together. And we slept in a motel in San Felipe that night. 1,000 miles, logistical army. How do you get fuel, tires, spare parts the 1,000 mile down the peninsula? You just put cars every 200 miles? No way. What you do is you run BFG tires. You run BFGs. They bring semi-trucks down there. They put one like every 180 to 200 miles. Before the race, they have a meeting. You can bring all your spares down there, spare tires. You mark them all with your names. You go to VP Fuel. They have a desk there, and you tell them how much gas you want at each pit stop, and you write a check to VP right there on the spot. And then you pull into these BFG pits. These huge dudes show up and dump fuel in, and they change your tires. They look for cracks in the suspension. They got welders. Like, it's a legit crew team, and they do that for anyone, for the top teams, and they do it for guys like me, like the little guy with his buddies running, just enough money for the entry fee in a homemade vehicle. Probably the greatest adventure in racing you can have, without a doubt, and you can do it cheap with your buddies. You can buy a class 11 for, 10 grand, buy a crappy one for 5 and work on it, but like 10, 15 grand gets you like a class 11. You can buy a buggy for 15, 20 grand out of the race, no problem. So yeah, Baja 1000. Last of the point-to-point races. Yeah, it's on dirt. Yeah, they're trophy trucks. Yeah, they're like 39-inch tires. They're not Ferraris. It's not the 60s. It's not Sicily. But this is the last of them, man. This is the last of the adventure races. I think it's enough rambling for today about the Baja. More about the trucks next time.